Well, call me a Philistine, but I sure am stumped as to why Ty West's latest horror flick, MaXXXine, has received such disparagement online. It's a blast, and is like the slasher equivalent of All About Eve or The King of Comedy. Hell hath no fury like a little girl who wants to be a star. Craven ambition and toxic female empowerment are presented in a neon-soaked Hollywood grappling with the overzealous religious right and the evils of a real-life serial killer known as the Night Stalker. Mia Goth is phenomenal as is to be expected, and she has ample opportunity to display her capacity to play cunty and soulful, abrasive and vulnerable in equal measure. I was hooked from the get-go by the film's deft ability to move through quiet close-ups on Maxine's introspective moments and bombastic look-at-me set pieces, typically making good use of long shots or montage. De Palma is an inevitable touchstone for an 80s set horror movie full of porn and a serial killer, but Ty West is his own man through and through, and for better or worse. For instance, Maxine is at one stage hounded by a wannabe killer dressed as Buster Keaton. He pulls a knife on her, at which point Maxine pulls a gun on him. With the upper hand, she then declares, "Drop it, Buster." It's making me chuckle just thinking about it, and such goofy moments are all Ty West, and the film is stronger for having him pay homage to his cinematic inspirations without being obsequious. Now our story continues the adventures of Maxine Miller, sole survivor of the events in X, who has become a famous porn star. Unfortunately, she's in her early 30s now, and hardcore actresses age like bread, so she needs to get out while her bits are still relatively intact. Opportunity presents itself in an honest-to-God B-movie, aptly titled Puritan 2. It's directed by an austere woman, Elizabeth Bender, who has enraged Christians in California with the original Puritan due to its depiction of religious figures and potential glorification of Satan. Fortunately, Bender knows what she wants and refuses to back down, and so she resists the appeals for censorship and puritanical rejection of our hero Maxine because of her porn star career, which sets up our lead with an opportunity to kill for. She gets the role after a phenomenal audition, and things are looking up for the cokehead with severe PTSD, but a malevolent figure is stalking the young woman and murdering people she knows. This ropes in a subplot involving detectives investigating the Night Stalker murders and a private investigator played gloriously by Kevin Bacon. He coerces Maxine into attending a party which may result in her demise, for a trap is being laid, and so cornered and at the mercy of rapacious men, Maxine must fight. But it'll take all her brains and bravado if she's going to escape and become a scream queen who can transition from blue films on videotape to the respectability of the silver screen. Will she succeed, or will she be brought low in this city of sin? Maxine was a delight, as I mentioned at the outset, because it's so well constructed. The gore is gory, the suspense is suspensey, the character arcs are archy, which is my clinical way of saying Ty West does everything the right way to induce the correct response in the audience, which carries us along on the journey. The guy knows how to make a horror film, and at this point probably deserves more praise for it than he's received. The biggest criticism I have for the film, though, is a twofer. The third act is awful, and a shootout between police and nefarious figures at the end was idiotic. These stupid events arise because West has filled the film with an unnecessary subplot involving cops investigating the murders. Worse still, the film jams a fairly large number of characters played by prominent actors into its 96-minute runtime, and this can be a little distracting. Part of me would have preferred character actors no one recognizes over Michelle Moynihan and Bobby Cannavale for the cops, or Lily Collins as an Irish actress who exists simply to die. There's something distracting about their presence in such small roles, as it demands that West jag focus from Maxine, who is the most interesting figure, to the detriment of the overall film. Purely intuitive response, but I really do think a cast of characters being killed off with minimal attention given to the cops would have worked better. Nevertheless, that's my only real issue with the film. Everything else was bang on with a few notable highlights. Firstly, Kevin Bacon is a great private dick who finds Maxine at the behest of a mysterious and perhaps murderous employer. His southern accent, wiry frame and cunning eyes were great to watch, and it was nice to see Bacon doing something so out there, as he tends to play straighter characters. Elizabeth Debicki as the austere filmmaker whose recent horror flick The Puritan has stirred up a controversy amongst the religious right was another home run. Debicki is a tall and cold figure and plays hardened Hollywood vet with great aplomb. In many ways she appears to represent Ty West with dialogue about how hard she's had to work to break into the industry and to be considered a serious voice as her goal is to produce B movies with A ideas. Giancarlo Esposito is also wonderful as Maxine's agent and fixer. It's so nice to see him doing something other than Gus Fring with his funky haircut and paternal demeanour, and his presence alone in the film makes it worth watching. It's a short, sweet role that was a genuine highlight. Finally, there's of course Mia Goth, who plays a psychotic and desperate Maxine spectacularly. We come to see that Maxine is a chameleon of sorts who absorbs what others say and regurgitates it back as if it were her own, and is only ever truly endearing when she's playing a character. Her entire worldview is one of a social climber who refuses to accept that her life could be anything less than that of a main character winning in the end, even if that means losing her soul. So all up, Maxine is well worth checking out, but that third act was a disappointment. Thanks for watching.
To the belly of the beast. You must eliminate all distractions, or the beast will spit you right back out.
Drop it! Time to pay for your sins.
It's America's new scream queen.
Maxine fucking Minx.